Okay, so now we're going to be looking at percentile. That is pages 28 and 29 in your Excel quick guide. And so what we're going to be doing is taking the exact data set that they have in here if you have that guide. If not, this should work for you what I have listed here. And what we're going to be doing is to look to see what are the percentile values for strength in a sample of 25 55-year-olds. So we have 25 pieces of data for our 55-year-olds that are in that sample, and we're going to look at we have our percentiles here, so we want to look at the percentile values. So I'm going to click on the cell that is associated with that. We're going to start with our 100th percentile, and I'm going to click on percentile. You can always search for it up here if necessary. My array is just my data. And K is going to be the percentile that I'm wanting to examine. It's important to note that the percentile value should be listed here as between 0 through 1. So you need to think about that percent not in the form that you have it listed here. So 100 would just be 1, right? So I'm going to press OK. And it should be 171. It looks like that is... trying to look at our scores here. Top score, so if you think of that that way, so 100 percentile, the 100th percentile would be that score of 171. You can do the same thing with the next one. You'll just go back and forth, this exciting process of repetition. Again, our K value here, we're going to be looking at 90th percentile, so I'm going to enter 0.9. And I've got 157.6. Let's see, and because we don't have our scores here, you can always mess around too with how you want this data listed. And you go to home for that, and then the same place where you can adjust if you want it listed as a percentage rather, if you want it as money, as you wanted it a general number. Underneath that, you can adjust whether you want to decrease or increase the decimals. So our data set in the quick guide has 1 decimal place. So I'm going to keep it there, but you can always click if you wanted more, if you wanted fewer. You can kind of play around with that. We'll go back to that. And we'll do one more. Let's go down to the 10th percentile. And I'm going to go back to formulas. Percentile. My data is the same. And again, for K, for 10th percentile, 0.1. There you go. And it looks like mine differs ever so slightly. I'm guessing I must have put an incorrect number in there somewhere when I was entering that. But most likely it should be close to the same. Sometimes when you're looking at a data set and trying to look back and forth, you make mistakes. So I'm going to move on to this next example. If you don't feel comfortable with using your own data and throwing these in there, you can certainly feel free to use this example. All I've done is sort of replicate. We're just looking at maybe test scores. Perhaps out of 100, and this time we only have 20, and again we want to look at all of these different percentiles and then the value associated with them. So I'm just going to do the first one for this example and leave this open if you want to work yourself through the process. So I'm going to insert function. Percentiles already up there and ready. My array is my data. K, again, because we're looking at 0 through 1, 100% is going to be 1. There you go, 94. And if you look, I do believe that is our highest score. So you can work yourself through these if you want, or feel free to try out your own data.